All right, how's everyone doing today? Good morning. I hope you had a fantastic week. I hope your weekend, it's already going, is going fantastically. It's a word, I promise. Fantastically. It's a good word. Yeah, it's been kind of a dreary week for me. Like, it's been cool, not cold, like hovering around 0 Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. So like cool but not cold. I'm still in shorts, but not, I have the hoodie broken out. But overcast. We're definitely role playing as New England. This couple weeks ago, we role played as Canada. We got snow in November for no apparent reason. The last 2 weeks, we're now role playing as New England or England, possibly both. So yeah, I personally kind of like the dreary weather though. I feel like I'm super powered by chilly, dreary weather. Yeah, so I'm probably definitely have a problem. Okay, we have a lot of stuff to get into. We won't dilly-dally a whole lot. It's really good to see you all. Really good to see you all. Let's get into the news. So we actually have a decent amount of things to cover. We're not going to cover how Rust broke the internet right at the very beginning, because I know that's why everybody joined. If you don't know, Rust did bring the internet to its knees. I do want to point out something that nobody's really talking about with that. Hopefully expand on that just a little for people's understanding. There's another thing that I saw brought up that I also wanted to talk about AI models that I don't think people are understanding. I know I've said it a little bit. I have a little demonstration to show, because the Linux Foundation released a paper that actually goes on to kind of confirm what I understand to be true, or it actually goes contrary to it. And I wanted to explain my stance there a little bit with regards to these open models underperforming. And then we have a bunch of news from Google releasing Antigravity, something we're going to try to use today. We're going to try, after the news, to try Antigravity. We're going to see if we can't get my office on the ceiling. It's going to be a lot of fun. Should stick around for that. All you're here for the crypto news? We can skip into the crypto news. Absolutely. We could do that. Let's do that. There's not a whole lot to say. About the crypto news. But if anybody's wondering what happened, why did 2 companies file for bankruptcy? It's mostly because the price of Bitcoin crashed from 116 to roughly $84,000 a Bitcoin in just over 2 weeks? Roughly 2 weeks. Yeah. So 2-3 weeks. So that's the news. It has seemed to stabilize off. I was looking at the long term versus the short term. It has just now stabilized to that there's more long-term betting than there is short-term betting. And as you can see, the price has also stabilized in the last couple of days. But there still is a lot of negative pressure on both of these if you're looking at the liquidation heat maps here. So yeah, that happened. And there's a Brazilian company who is looking for Chapter 15 bankruptcy protection. So if you guys, a lot of times we talk about Chapter 11, that is for U.S. companies. Chapter 15 bankruptcy is protection for foreign companies in the United States. So that's why it's Chapter 15, if you were wondering. I don't know that much about Chapter 15 other than it exists. I don't know the differences, so don't ask me what the differences are between those. Go ask somebody else. Go ask somebody with a law degree in corporate in bankruptcy filing. I'm sure that you can find a YouTube video on it. But yeah, there was a couple companies, one US based crypto company that went under, and this Brazilian one that went under because of this. It's always a gamble if your company requires the stock prices to continue going up. So just always keep that in mind, that generally nothing always goes up for always, except for property prices. No, they actually go down too, just in general. It's always over a long period of time. You can always have fluctuations. So remember that. Where are all the Bitcoins, talk a bit? Where are all the Bitcoins? Yeah, let's talk about that. We're going to have to talk offline about the 12 Bitcoin that you gave me. Let's just say that the new AI company I tried to start with them failed. But thankfully, my Bugatti survived, so you don't have to worry. That was like the sign-on bonus. There just wasn't money after I paid my sign-on bonus for the rest of the company. So, I'm gonna put this under lessons learned for the next time somebody invests a ton of money into me on how to better run the company. Yeah, it's all lessons learned. I'm literally going to be better at it next time I try this. Next time somebody gives me a couple million. Yeah. Price of education, right? So now you can invest in me again because I learned that lesson. So, you don't want to take your chances with somebody else. I've already learned the hard lesson. Yeah. When's my next round? I open a new round every single month. I mean, this month, I'm going to start a new round. I have a new, fresh idea, and I'm going to try to get a couple more poor saps on board. I mean, angel investors to invest in me. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So we're going to do open source news a little bit later. There's actually a couple interesting blog articles that I wanted to point your guys' eyes at because some people did some really cool stuff. They need more credit than they're getting. And you could learn stuff from them if you're interested in the same type of stuff. So I always like showing those off. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was probability. Now, I know that if you've been around here long enough, you know that I refer to AI, artificial machine intelligence, or machine learning as sufficiently advanced statistical analysis. And I'm not going to get into why I call it that right now. But what I did want to do is do a really, really base primer of why 5% matters, why 10% matters. Now, I've seen articles like this, and I'm picking on not the CNCF, but the Linux Foundation today. But it's a lot of people have the same thought. And a lot of people say, but it's only 5% worse at, when you go from a 300 billion parameter model to an 80 billion parameter model. And today I want to explain to you why that 5% feels so bad. We're not even going to cover why that 5% is hard to even measure, and the measurement of these models is broken, why we have the AI games this December 15th. But it has to do with, quite possibly, yet another difference that we're not even thinking about. So, again, I'm picking on the Linux Foundation because they put the blog article out there, but I've seen this a lot of other places. This isn't super new, and I'm going to give you the blog article because they bring up other valid points that I don't want to diminish too much that you should read. And I like the Linux Foundation for the most part. I don't know why I said for the most part. I guess I always throw that in there because there's like a chance that they've done something that I disagree with that I'm not coming up to the top of the head, but it's like, okay, well, for the most part, it's a true statement. I should have been a lawyer. Okay, let's go on. Closed models dominate, but not necessarily because they're better. The first headline from our research is striking. Closed models account for roughly 80% of the model usage and 96% of revenue, even though they cost, on average, 6 more than competing open models. So basically, open models cost less to run. This is based on data coming from OpenRouter, a widely used interface for using open and closed LLMs via API that captures nearly 1% of the global expenditure on LLM APIs. This dominance would be easy to explain if closed models consistently delivered vastly superior technical performance, but that simply isn't true. Open models routinely achieve 90% or more of the performance of closed models on widely used benchmarks. Now, I know that you guys have heard me say that these benchmarks are crap, and that's part of the problem. That is 100% part of the problem. But the other part of the problem is this 90%. 90% to us humans sounds really, really, really good. If you said I had 90% of a tank of gas or 90% charge on my battery, that all sounds really good to us. As humans, 90% sounds good. Now, I'll tell you something. 90%, if you're talking about availability, is trash, is garbage. You can take days off and be down for days every single month. It's garbage. So 90% in the computer world is not good. But it goes even further than this because you don't get 90%. Now, I'm just going to take this 90% of a real model, and we're going to do a little calculation. What I have said many, many times before, but I wanted to demonstrate here, is that we're in a place where we're chaining AIs. We're feeding AIs back into each other, and this input goes into here, and things like this. And so if every step of this thing has 95% chance of doing something correct, the resulting output here, I'm just going to come up with something. It's going to be like 75% chance that you actually get what you want. And this is what's happening across the industry. Across the industry of AI, we're looking at agents. What agents do is they self-ask questions and they self-drive, and there's a whole list of things that are going on. And so when any one step has 95% chance of success, you end up having an issue. Now, we can actually do this really quite simply with a coin flip calculator. Basically, a coin flip calculator looks like this. You have coins here, and let's say that heads is the correct solution. Well, in the chance that we flip 2 coins, if we wanted to get 2 correct answers, and for our system to be correct at the end, to have 2 correct answers, if in the first try you get a correct answer, but the second agent call you get a tails, an incorrect answer, then it's not correct. The whole system is wrong. And so in this scenario here where we do 2 coin flips, you have only a 25% chance that it will be a heads, right? That's how probability works. You don't have 50%. You have 50% on any one flip. Now, we can go and use a coin flip calculator to actually expand on this just a little bit. We can change our probability to 90%. And in this 5-step thing, when we are at 90% of the closed source model, so taking what was given, our probability is 59%. So that 10% that people are talking about, this 10%, it's 10% worse, actually means if you're running it as an agent, which a lot of lots of stuff is dominated by agents right now. It means that you're at basically a 60% worse than the leading models. And I think this is a big reason why a lot of those open models don't succeed as much. There's another reason. There's actually probably a couple reasons. One, a lot of people don't want to host their own model. Another reason is that a lot of the times, if you are hosting your open model, you're probably trying to be cheap or running on your own hardware. And if that's the case, you might not be able to run the 500 billion parameter model, 600 billion parameter model. But I think that this, honestly, if I had to make a guess, dominates it. It's just probability. It's probability that we're not thinking about. And yeah, let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if you think that there's something else going on, something nefarious. Are people getting paid off? I also like to blame the lizard people in this case, but this time I'm not sure it's the lizard people. I think it might be math, but what do I know? AI tech bro steals homeless streamers Bitcoin. That's the real news. I missed that toggle bit. I'm sorry. I missed that one. I just rug pulled and threw math at you. I got you here for the Bitcoin and then talked math. Yeah. It is something that I tend to do. I will give you all. Here's the link to that article. Now, I think that I don't want to just crap on that article. I think that article had good points. So go read the article for yourself. I highly encourage you to do that. There's a lot of other stuff in there, and I'm only pointing that out because I've heard this from people, and I feel like people think that a decent amount, and I just wanted to kind of clear the air a little. I think it's easy to not think about it. I think us as humans, that is not at all what I wanted to do. How do I? One second. I'm. Mess something up here really quickly. All right. Okay. I think I fixed it. Anyways, I think it's something that we're not thinking about when we're doing that, and I think it's important. So sorry about that. Okay, so since I rug pulled you, I will go ahead and start talking about some open source software. Or this isn't really even news, but these were really interesting articles that I found. Not all of them are not all of them are from this last week. So, it's going to be okay because they're cool, and you're going to have to get over it. I found them, and I learned something from them. You might be able to too. This first one is from 2024, which is a little bit a long time away, but is the dude who learned Vulkan by making a little game engine for it. And this just came up on Hacker News. Somebody posted it again, and I got to read it because of that. Now, it is a little bit along an old article, but I wanted to post it for you all because, well, you deserve it. And yeah, it's worth a read. It's worth a read. So if you're interested in Vulkan, if you're interested in learning that, I would go read this. The next one that I wanted to talk to you about was event sourcing in Go. This was a recently released article that I think was really valuable. I know I talk about events and event-based systems and whatnot, but sometimes getting them up and running is difficult. If you're interested in 400 lines of front loading just to get a triangle on screen, you say. Not all of us learn Vulkan in Rust, Togglebit. Not all of us learn Vulkan in Rust. That's all I'm going to say there. But for those of us that do, yeah, we understand what you're saying. We understand what I like Vulkan. I like Vulkan. Have you used the other systems besides Vulkan? You have. I know that you have. So that was a dumb question. I think Vulkan is way easier than those. I mean, okay, I've actually only used OpenGL prior to Vulkan. So that's my only experience. That's my only experience. How are you liking the WGPU? Russell, you missed my rug pull earlier today. I think you would have liked it. It's fine for cool. You'll have to let me know how you like it. You have to iron a backdrop. What? That's only things that YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and the people who teach theater instructors. It's probably like the two groups of people that say that. I guess maybe if you have a child in theater, maybe you're helping with the production. Possibly that too. No, Jamie, you learned something new. You learned something new. All right, let's continue on. So event sourcing, I know this is something that I've talked about quite a bit. This article came out. I read over it. It's in Go. It's in Go. So if that causes you an allergic reaction, I just want to be warned. You know, there's stuff out there. I was hoping it was in Rust, but it's in Go. Anyways, if you're wanting to understand more about the event pattern or event sourcing, I would go read this article. It's kind of one of those things that it's really cool when you get into it, but because it's not the simplest thing to get into and actually pull off, sometimes people shy away from doing it. You know, cores can be something challenging to deal with, and those types of things when you're talking about a microservice event sourced platform. This is kind of one of the things that I wanted, like I almost wanted the Null cloud to be able to handle for people is like, hey, you want to do event sourcing, but it's actually hard. What if you could just do it based off of gRPC signatures? Anyways, I would go read this. It was a good article for Sergey. So thanks, Sergey, for writing this. And yeah. Let's move on. In other open source news, Zigbee 4.0 was released. I don't really know a whole lot about it, so I'm just letting you guys know that Zigbee 4.0. I know what Zigbee is. I actually shy away from using Zigbee in my house. I like to just use Wi-Fi. I know that Wi-Fi requires more power. I mostly just plug my things in that require power. And yeah, so I know that there's a whole group of people that love Zigbee. I'm sure that Zigbee 4.0 is fantastic, and so that's cool. I actually do have two Zigbee powered devices. not by choice. They were just the things that I needed, and they were only in Zigbee. So my whole home assistant has to have a Zigbee antenna now. And that was a whole thing to get it because the smoke detectors that I wanted were Zigbee. So there's that. It was a long rant for saying I really hate that the best smoke detectors were only Zigbee. But so anyways, Zigbee 4, I'm sure that it's great. If you're into that type of thing, you should go check it out. Another great article from the open source community that I found is this. An architectural decision, containers on bare metal or on virtual machines. I think it's a good discussion. I'm not going to say that I necessarily agree with everything said in here, but I think it's a good thought experiment. I think that in this day and age, VM versus not VM doesn't really matter. If you're using an EC2 instance, you're using a VM unless you're using the metal variant. So most people, even when they think they're running bare metal, are running in a VM. They've gotten very, very good, very, very fast, very, very lightweight. In fact, some more of our open source news is this. Zen 4.21 takes a major step towards modernization, virtualization, offering greater maintainability across industries and upgrade efficiency for memory. So the Zen project, not one that I follow really closely, but it did release. So you can go check this out. Check out what they released in there. It's pretty cool. I screwed that up. But oh well. You get the picture. Anyways, let's jump into how Rust broke the internet. What you're all actually here for. We have had in the past 3 weeks 4 major cloud outages. We had AWS. We had subsequent Microsoft front door. There was another minor outage, and I'm blanking on it now. And now we have Cloudflare. Now, I'm sure you all heard of this because it was hard to not hear of this. When one of these major providers go down, it takes out large swaths of the internet. And it's kind of hard to notice or hard to not notice when something like this happens. Now, it doesn't bring down the entire internet. People that say it brings down the internet are kind of being dramatic. It brought down anybody that uses Cloudflare as a proxy. I dislike it when people refer to Cloudflare as a reverse proxy because it does quite a bit more than that. It gives you a private internet channel to your devices, to your edge. It secures that channel, and it provides a distributed edge ingress network, much more than a reverse proxy to your infrastructure. That being said, when it goes down, anybody using it as that private edge gateway to your infrastructure is down. Now, I have to say that while Cloudflare has had its share of outages, most of those outages are in the extremities. So most of the when I say extremities, that's like the UI, the dashboard, or some of their less core products like their R2, or is it D2? I don't know if it's R2 or D2, but I'm sure it's one of those two. Their storage. Anyways, so that being said, when you're looking at this, you usually have like your core services and then the newer things that maybe are core, maybe aren't core, and they're under different SLAs. Now, this service, the part of it that proxies your data from the edge and brings it in and secures it from bot attacks and things like that, hasn't really gone down. That's kind of their core product. That's kind of their thing. That is kind of their thing. And I know that we go through and sorry, I was just reading chat. I have a thread pause while I only read chat on the UI thread. I don't have that background. Some streamers have like that background thread where they can read chat with a background thread. I use the UI thread to read chat, so you're gonna have to live with that. D1 for databases. Dang it. I thought it was. Dang it. Anyways, I messed up. Yeah, multiplexing with the brain. Yeah, it's the worst. It's the worst. America. Dang it. I haven't upgraded to the latest Python yet. Soon I'm going to be multi-threaded, okay? I'll have you know. So what happened and what went wrong? If you're looking at Cloudflare, again, you can kind of think them as your ingress endpoint into a private network to your resource. And why they do that is they protect you from bots, they protect you from attacks, DDoS attacks, and things like that. And so basically, your traffic doesn't hit your network first, it hits their network. Their network does all of this work to make sure that it's correct, and it gently hands it to your infrastructure to protect your infrastructure. So what went wrong in this? Well, nothing much. It's a mistake that could happen to just about anybody. It was an edge case that wasn't thought about. I had people that said this was because it was vibe coded. I'm sure that this could have caught anybody. But for those of you that are new to Rust, there is one thing that there's two types of applications, and there's two very canonically different ways you handle this case in those two different ways. And they're both valid. One you don't want to do when your service is dependent on to be up and running. So this is actually a really interesting point, because I think that a lot of people look at these types of problems from their point of view, and it's very hard for them to see a different point of view on this. And this is one of those where this could be fine in a different style of application. We're going to talk about it really quickly. So anybody that was just blaming Rust, I want to point out the code. First, Cloudflare always gets an A+. They have set the bar on how to communicate outages that builds more trust than I think any other company would. I have not seen a company actually post the code that caused the issue. And this was it. Now, we want to talk about unwrap in Rust. Unwrap is a little bit like Leroy Jenkins or YOLO, if you know those terms. It's a little bit like those. Basically, it's going to do it or it's going to panic. Now, if you're writing a CLI application, you might write expect. Expect does the same thing as unwrap. I see a lot of people that writing CLI applications use expect. And this is basically what happens with expect. You have this thing that can be there or not there. So there could be a value or an error. These are the two possibilities that exist in this situation. And you can say something like, I expect there to be a value. Let's say you're writing a command line argument. I expect there to be a value. And if there's not a value, I can't proceed as an application. And it's valid to just fail here. It's valid to say, nope, not happening. You can even do this on the startup of a server where there's a certain configuration that has to exist and you can fail very quickly. And if you have stuff in your stack to see that, you can actually automatically roll back. You can be like, this isn't configured properly, whatnot, yada, yada, yada. Where you don't want to do this is in a server that cannot fail. Because what happens is this is just going to panic basically Update feature checksum and copy ed features names. Basically, when you do this, you call unwrap here. It is going to crash and bring it down if it's not true. This is why I generally say that unwrap and expect are kind of dangerous, because when you're using it, I write a lot of services. I would not want unwrap or expect in my service unless if I had a way to catch those. It is absolutely wild to say that this is a language issue. I don't think I've said that. So they called unwrap. Oh, yeah. I am trying to get into that because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. That's why I put it as a title. It's absolutely ridiculous. The fact of the matter is, this could happen to just about every language. This is an assumption that was made by the person writing it. This was a person, if it was written by AI, this was an assumption that was accepted by the person reviewing it. Okay? That these things are going to always be true. That's the end of the case. That's the end of the matter. Now, some people would be tempted to look up git blame here. If you've never written a piece of code that has panicked, go ahead and look up at the git blame. I actually do look up git blame because I want to ask the person if there's something I didn't realize when they were doing that. Because maybe there's something I'm missing as well. Like there's a lot of reasons you do a lot of things. Some of the times, this was always true. This assumption was always true, and something changed after they wrote it. History is a fickle thing with a lot of different branching arcs, and it's very hard to tell. So, anyways, for those of you that think it's a language issue, it's not. You could have had a null pointer error here just as well. For those of you who think it's a feature, a language issue, the language actually gives you many ways to deal with these error values, many ways that would not cause a failure. Now, I do suggest you read this because this article is actually really, really, really interesting because they use Rust in a really good way. Basically, this thing you would not want to write in Python, script, or any of those languages because actually, it's really cool. I actually love this write-up because one of the things that you have to think about is this thing has to be blazing fast. Absolutely blazing fast. So you have C, C++, Rust. Those are about the only things. You're not going to have a garbage collector in this. And this reminds me of a project that I actually had to update a long time ago in Java. And it was a networking library for Java. I'm not going to name names. Java networking sucks. But basically what they did to make it fast and to not destroy the garbage collector, because a networking library has a lot of little packets and things, was they pre-allocated all memory. Pre-allocated all memory. And that's what they do here as well. Everything is known at the start of this thing, so it can be blazing fast. They load all of these things that these things looking for these bots in these proxies at the start of that server. And it's all pre-allocated so that it can be absolutely blazing fast. This has nothing to do with Rust. I mean, it's partially a language like, it's a compiled language. But beyond that, it has nothing to do with Rust or C++ or C. It has to do with if you're truly writing a application that wants to have as little as zero latency as possible, memory allocations take time. And that's something they want to avoid. Period. So it's really cool. It's a really good use of Rust, and it was a mistake. It's a mistake that they can learn from. Guess what? You could actually check for if you have unwrap in your code and just not use unwrap. You can make a lint based off of this, which is really cool because basically the mistake that was made is an easy one to catch and not do in the future. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't beep out script. I would never do that. So, what were their key takeaways? Hardening ingestion of Cloudflare generated configuration files. So, the root of the error, a lot of people covered this already that have the time to stream during the week. There was a bad generation of configuration files, which basically, instead of 200, did a lot more duplicated lines in a document. Easy to do. Enabling more global kill switches for features, eliminating the ability for core dumps and other error reports to overwhelm system. They basically DDoS themselves again. It's funny. The last 2 times that Cloudflare has been DDoSed, it's been by themselves, which is hilarious. And then reviewing failure modes for error conditions across all. This, I think, is the big one here. Reviewing failure modes for error conditions across all core proxy modules. So one of the things that happened, they have these 2 different stacks. And one of the things that happened was that they actually happened, they dealt with the traffic differently. It's a really good read up. I do highly recommend that you read it. But basically, you have this where you're coming into Cloudflare stack, and here you hit Cloudflare, and then Cloudflare does its thing, and it passes it on to you, right? So this is kind of the internet. Cloudflare, and then this is you. So in here, it's trying to check, are you a bot? And so the number one, the first gen of this stack basically gave everything a very low rating. So Gen 1, because it couldn't load any of these modules, it said, you must be a bot. So it rejected all traffic based on thinking you were a bot. And then Gen 2 crashed. And so it rejected all traffic because, well, it crashed. And so it couldn't forward stuff on. So this is like a score from 100 to 0. It pushed all scores to 0, making them look like bots. And so this is, whether you were on Gen 1 or Gen 2, you'd actually get a different error trying to access the website, which was really interesting because you could actually see the slow rollout of a new generation of their proxy stack. And so I found this to be fascinating through it, that during the outage, you could have gotten 2 different errors depending on which stack the customer was on, which is just absolutely really cool. And yeah, anyways, what they're talking about is their failure mode. When this fails, how should it fail? So let's say, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how this proxy should work, but one thing they could say is that it should fail open. So right now it's failing closed, which I actually think should be the correct failure mode, but I think that they should actually let you do that as an account. Like, how should it fail? For me, as a security product, I want it to fail closed. I'd want it to do what G1 or G2 did, honestly. And I know that sucks, but as a security appliance, failing closed is safer, right? But it could fail open. I actually just had this happen with Datadog. Yeah, Datadog actually fails open on some of their stuff. So if you're in their cloud SIEM, their security appliance, if you're in that And there are some options there. And if you have them disabled, you won't get notified about certain things. If you said you don't want to get notified about those. But if they fail to actually get the setting of whether you have them disabled or not, they fail open because they don't want you to miss a security event in the case that you had it set as open. And they just recently had a failure in that subsystem, which then meant people got paged for stuff that wasn't enabled on their accounts because it failed open. So when they talk about reviewing failure modes, you have to think when you're creating a service how something is going to fail. Everything's going to fail, whether you like it or not. We're human or AI. Either way, it's going to fail. More if you're AI. And what you got to decide is how is it going to fail open? Is it going to fail open or is it going to fail closed? And that really depends on the workload, on the appliance that you're doing, and the impact it's going to have on customers. So this was the big takeaway that I think people weren't talking about and should have been talking about. When you're writing a service, you've got to do this. You've got to have the conversation. When it fails, not if it fails, you can't do the if, when it fails. How do we want it to fail? And the answer is it depends. You got to ask yourself, how do you want it to fail? Like front door. Like front door. Everything is going to fail. It's just some things won't fail anywhere near as much as front door. Azure Front Door needs a re-architecture. I rarely call for a full re-architecture, but it's not just you, Russell, that complains about Azure Front Door. Azure Front Door has earned itself as a complete dumpster fire. Absolute complete dumpster fire. So, anyways, I thought that was the big thing people should have been talking about here because that's what Cloudflare failed to do. It wasn't the language, it wasn't the people, it was understanding how these things were going to fail, making sure that they failed in a way that they wanted to, and they learned something new to lint for. I personally believe that you don't want to do unwrap or expects or any type of panic-inducing. I don't mean panic-inducing as in like you're panicking, but panic-inducing code in your server. This doesn't matter whether you're Rust or you're C++ or you're C. If you're doing any of those and you're writing a microservice, one, I'd much rather be writing in Rust, and two, it's not a language failure. It is just a logic failure. It's an assumption that was not true. And when we handle exceptions that aren't, or when we make assumptions that aren't true, our code fails. And that will happen to all of us. You cannot program for all exceptions. I think this failed because they didn't hire Merrick to handle the exceptions. I believe that would be an exceptional case of exception handling, actually. I do believe that's what that would be. You know, I am not any better than the worst of you. And so, no, they would be much worse. It'd be much worse. I do not have the hubris to believe that I would have not written this code. Not written this code. I do shy away from, I say that. I actually have, because I've been writing some CLI-based stuff, I have actually gotten a little bit more comfortable with doing like expect and just moving on, because I'm like, yeah, I expect to have the API key. Let's move on. And I don't have to think about it. And that's actually been something really cool with writing some CLI apps that I've loved, but also at the same time is a little terrifying. And I love every time I read somebody else's experience, I'm literally sitting here thinking, what can I learn from this? And, this is something I knew, but it's a great reminder. Like, you've got to think about how you expect to fail. Is it a security thing? If it's a security thing, you kind of want to fail closed. And that sucks, because I actually think they did the right thing. They should fail closed, not open. Sucks, because that means that your failure state is like Microsoft front door, just bricked up. Anyways, it makes you think about it. So then when you're designing stuff, when you're in that meeting, you can be like, hey, wait a second, everybody. Have we thought about our failure mode? How we want to fail? No? Okay, we got to think about it. Maybe get that in your docs for new features. That the failure mode needs to be listed out and thought about. So it's in your standard operating procedures. Cool. Children having to eat. All right, let's talk really quickly about AI. We just have two things really quickly here. ChatGPT released ChatGPT 5.1. Supposedly, it's better. I spilled coffee all over myself before my meeting. Do you think everyone thought I was an idiot? The answer is yes. They were laughing because they've also done it. And yes, you're probably an idiot as well. That's just the answer of it. I have spilled coffee on. Do you know what? You want to know something worse than coffee? How about you explode a can of soda all over you because you've been drinking V8 juice out of cans and you shake those. And then you're sitting there and you shake this can of soda and open it, directly at yourself because you're just opening it. And you get soda all over you. Yes, everybody will laugh. And there's nothing you can do. It just happens. It happens. ChatGPT here is lying to you. It's lying to you. It's never been there. It's not a gut punching feeling. You're going to laugh about it afterwards. It's what I do. It's what everybody that knows me from that time period does. It happens. Stupid stuff happens. Don't ask ChatGPT this type of stuff. Okay? That's the takeaway. Oh gosh. I'm not reading chat, okay? Not answering that. So anyways, 5.1's been released. Let me know how you guys like it, if you're liking it more. On top of that, OpenAI recovers 3,000 CPU cores with Fluent Bit Tweak. 3,000, or I said 3,000, 30,000 CPU cores. This is pretty cool. Now, I haven't seen the report there. We actually have a person in the community who did a KubeCon talk. And so we're going to cover that in depth as soon as it, I haven't found it publicly. So as soon as I find it publicly, they all come out publicly eventually. So as soon as that does, we're going to review it, whether he likes it or not. Which is pretty cool. So if you guys do anything, if you're in the community and you release an article or whatnot, go ahead. I'll cover it in the news. But they recovered 30,000 CPU cores with a Fluent Bit tweak. I wanted to go over this. This isn't actually that exciting. They reconfigured and made it work better for them. And we can talk about that. But what I wanted to talk about was benchmarking. and database benchmarking and any other type of benchmarking. And the fact of the matter is, this right here proves that configuration and how you use your data can cost you 35%. And when you're talking about 30,000 CPU cores, you're talking about a lot. We're not talking about a little bit, we're talking about a lot. And so when we're talking about large bits of data store, and you can talk about Fluent Bit all you want, but this stores and transfers data. That's end of the road. How you configure it has a massive amount of play in how it performs. And at scale, it can be very expensive. I think that a lot of times people think certain things don't scale, like Postgres. And it's because they just use it like they've always used it. And some things scale easier or by default or whatnot, and that's based off of the system design. But a lot of times we use systems and we never think about how they were configured. So they profiled, they found that they weren't using a setting, and they turned that setting off, that feature off, and saved them $30,000. So basically, they just had to go in and find that they weren't using a feature and save themselves a butt ton of money. Absolute metric butt ton of money. Son, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna call you son. If you're looking for an internet dad, there is this great streamer who is if you need an internet dad, go check out Togglebit. He can be your internet dad. I'm more like your internet. I'm not sure how I'm going to finish that one. Yep. Go follow Togglebit. Am I the creepy uncle? Your internet uncle? Yeah, okay. I could be your internet uncle. Yeah. I'm the fun one. The one you go hang out to be. You go to your internet dad when you need help and this stuff. Like, you go to your internet uncle to have fun. You don't come here for help. Please. All right. We got a little derailed. Let's finish up what happened. Now, I do believe that Microsoft has possibly jumped the shark. If you guys don't know what the jumping the shark reference is, I actually didn't know what it was either. I guess there was this TV show Happy Days, maybe. I don't really know, but I guess in that the TV show was doing really well, and then they ran out of things, and they literally jumped a shark. Did not know this for the longest of time. I just used the same. Anyhow, that being said, has Microsoft jumped the shark? So they got a lot of heat this last week. A lot of heat this week from Microsoft. Microsoft explains how Windows 11 will become an agentic OS, whether you like it or not. And this heat has come from everywhere from outside the company and inside the company. I know that there's a lot of people inside the company that are saying everything has to be called Copilot. Everything that you do has to have AI mashed into it. I want to actually use my own thing here. AI doesn't have to solve all your problems. And in fact, there are some problems that are better solved not leveraging AI. AI is really inefficient. Like really inefficient. If we're talking about the number of cycles a CPU has to run to solve the same problem as a non-AI system, AI, which is sufficiently advanced statistical analysis, is terrible. For example, we made a Wordle game that we're going to play right after the news as I make another cup of coffee, and then we get into doing some programming and stuff. While we do that Wordle game, at first, I actually made it where an AI would make the word. Instead of using a stupid word list, we would use AI. And that was because I wanted to use AI for something, and it was fun, and we were having fun. But the whole idea here is that sometimes you can lose the forest through the trees. Is I guess what I'm saying. You get so focused on something, you can forget that it's not the silver bullet to everything. A word list is actually better than AI in that case. Not only does it guarantee that you get a real word that's the right length, so it gives all those guarantees, it also does it efficiently. And Microsoft at their Microsoft Ignite and also in their GitHub developer thing, GitHub Universe, I believe it's called, all of its stuff was about Copilot. Everything had to be named Copilot. There's about 20,000 products named Copilot, and they might have lost the forest through the trees. Anyways, I don't have much more to say on that other than I'd like to just warn Microsoft that it's a dangerous, slippery slope. I know that it's exciting. I know that you see a lot of profit, hopefully. That's what you're chasing. But you don't want to burn all of your engineers. If you guys haven't seen Octoverse, a new developer joins GitHub every second as AI leads TypeScript to number one. So a lot of people are getting off of Python and script to get onto TypeScript for better AI. You guys can go and read this. There's a lot of stuff in here. I don't know that we want to cover all of it. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Yeah, this though, every second a new developer joins GitHub. That is so many developers. And they have a graph in here. I was going to look at it. Yeah, check this out. Copilot. This is super industry. I didn't know in 2024 that the number of people joining GitHub plateaued, but the number of people that joined GitHub plateaued in 2024 for some reason. I don't know. But then they made Copilot the free tier. Boom. Check that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I now know why Microsoft is all about Copilot. When you see that graph as an executive, you can't not be about Copilot. Every second a new GitHub user account is created, probably due to a broken script written by AI. Two-star coder. It's gonna be a thing. We're gonna test two-star coder. Which Copilot? Which? Okay. I don't know if any of you guys know who Chronosphere is. It was a observability startup that I was watching. It has been bought by Palo Alto Networks. So now you know. Now you know. I don't know that that's that interesting. It is what it is. The last thing, and the thing that we're going to try to do, is Google released with Gemini. Now, every time I try Gemini, every single time, it is the most dented AI. I know that there's like a very core group of people that like Gemini, and every single time I'm like, hey, let me try this. The most hilarious failure of Gemini, I was in GCP and I wanted a way to do something. And so I asked it, and it failed like 3 times in a row to do the thing in GCP. Like the one place it should be really good, but it wasn't. Anyways, the last thing here is Antigravity by Google has been released. Now, I'm going to show you one problem that we have. We are not on Deb. We're not on a Debian based thing. So I'm like, okay, fine. Let's move on. Here's RPM based. Okay, we're also not on an RPM based distribution. Fine, we're going to move on. Oh, we can download a tarball. Okay. Dang it. You didn't even make an app image or a flat pack or like something? No. So we're going to tarball this piece of software. There we go. So I don't know if you guys have seen, and there is nobody has made an anti-gravity arch package, so that sucks. I don't know if you guys have seen Antigravity. Supposedly hot stuff. Individual plan $0 a month. Unlimited tab, unlimited command request, generous rate limits. They rate limit you at 1, and that's generous to them. I have no idea what the rate limits are. I have no idea. I don't love the light plan, but I'm guessing that they don't rate limit you because they don't have a way to buy these. So at the moment, my guess is that they're just going to, I mean, unless you're like truly abusing it, you're going to get it for free basically. And then as soon as they have like team and enterprise plans, they're going to hit rate limits. Like they're going to be like, all right, 500 free tokens. Then you can buy more after that. That's my guess. Tough luck to the 3 million Arch users. I didn't really put this in the news. I wasn't really going to cover it, but there is a Steam machine. I'm kind of excited about the Steam machine. I'm kind of excited about the Steam machine. And not for why you guys think. Well, one, I actually do think that I will get this for my kids instead of an Xbox moving forward. But that's not actually why. I think I like dumb TVs that aren't smart. And I think that this is a really cool smart TV. Now, my guess is that it's going to be around $1,000. Would be my guess if I just had to guess. The second thing that I think that this would be really cool for is for $4,000, you can get an AI-powered supercomputer that's kind of dented and not very super. It's like sub-super. I think when they said supercomputer, they just misspoke. And for $4,000, you can get a sub-supercomputer that has a lot of memory. Whereas this has, one second. It's an AMD RDNA 3 GPU. Now, I don't know the, it's only got 8 gigs of VRAM. But if you're talking about like doing some stuff on containers, what I don't know is I don't know how easy it is to get RDNA 3 AMD in containers. But what excites me is if it's under $1,000, building a cluster of 3 or 4 of these that runs Kubernetes could be really cool. It's like the cube, right? It's Kubernetes, which a lot of people put as cube, on the cube. It's the Kubernetes cube. It's the cube squared. KUBE squared. That's all I'm saying. I want to build the cube squared. 4 of these things. Boom. AI workloads. I think this could be interesting for that. Oh, true. Just K2. It could be K2. Just Linux, Kubernetes, home system. $4,000 AI supercomputer that beats the NVIDIA sub supercomputer. I'm actually really disappointed with it. I need to cover that. I need to make a video on it. I honestly think like it's a complete waste of money. Maybe they make it better. It has missed expectations time and time again. Russell, I didn't mean it just as AI. I meant it as like just your home data center, right? Like just a home data center. Maybe I'm part of the problem. I always like small, power efficient home data centers, right? Like I'm always on the lookout for doing that better. Also, the cube squared is kind of just a fun thing. I don't want to make the problem worse, though. I don't want to make the problem worse. That's not my goal. But tell you what, this NVIDIA thing is not the way to go. It is not the way to go. The beard is crazy. It actually doesn't have a mind of its own. It doesn't. It actually isn't mentally anything. Now, the wearer of the beard might be crazy, but that's a whole different topic. The beard is really benign. Not benevolent, just benign. Do you think NVIDIA can fix it with driver and maybe firmware updates? Maybe. I was trying to debug. You know how with graphite, I was trying to debug the graphite model, and I don't honestly know if it could be a firmware problem with my inability to run graphite in the way that I'm trying to. So I ran it locally on the CPU on my computer, and I ran it just fine. With the, I was running it in Graphite 4 locally in CPU on my desktop and putting Z to point to it. So I was using it in the exact same way that it was exploding in the other one. And it used like 50 gigs of CPU memory, 50, 60. I can do the experiment again with you all. And then when I do the exact same thing on the DGX, it explodes the memory. I can't do it. They said that I'd be able to run a 200 billion parameter model, but I struggle to run 64 billion parameter models. And sadly, there aren't any 200 billion parameter models, which is kind of a weird thing. It's like 64 and then like 300 billion parameter models. I was expecting to be able to run 200 billion parameter models and give a full context, like actually give it the whole context that it's available to take. When I heard those words, I haven't seen anywhere close to that. That's the other thing, is if you give it a ton of context and do like agent stuff with it, it actually requires more to respond to. And I just haven't seen anywhere near that. Now, the training is interesting. We haven't tried training it with what we did on my GPU, but I think the training. Here's my take. It's not good enough to do anything really good, and it's too expensive for a person that just wants to play around to actually use. So for somebody like me, my RTX 4070 sucks because it doesn't have a ton of memory. But like for me, playing around and learning the skills of how to train and what LoRa or A-LoRa or any of those types of techniques are, and just using the tools, I don't need it to use the tools. I have I can use the tools on my thing. I just have to use really, really small models. And that's fine because there are really, really small models. And it's not powerful enough to do anything really better than that anyways. It does those faster. So if you want to iterate really fast, it's faster. And maybe if you got you can hook up like 16 of these all together. Maybe if you did that, it would be good enough. But like without spending $60,000, so far I haven't seen the performance that would garner $4,000. I haven't seen a real benefit to any of the stuff that I've done, other than doing it a little bit faster. And, on my computer, I struggled to do the 1 billion parameters, and I was able to do a 3 billion parameter training. But like, what does that matter? I don't know that matters. Maybe if I was trying to do some proof of concepts, I could iterate on the proof of concepts with a little bit higher fidelity. But like, okay, maybe if my job was a professional on that. But other than that, yeah. Now, can they fix it with firmware and software updates? Sure, maybe. I still think that it's somewhat in that weird spot where if I was a professional doing this for my day job, I would need more. And as not a professional, I need less. They need to come out with a good $2,000 option, maybe $1,000. Otherwise, I honestly, I'm not sure what person I see it fitting. Did I say graphite? Might be granite. Did I say? I might have said graphite. I meant granite. My apologies. That's my current take on the DGX, and honestly, right now it doesn't even meet that. I'm assuming that they fix some of it, and I'm assuming they fix some of it, and it meets more of my expectations. Right now, it has struggled to run Scout. I'm running a 70 billion parameter Scout model that it runs not great. Not great. It's slow. That's the other thing. It's slower than I expected. I was expecting it because it's all in memory. Like it loads the whole model in the GPU memory. I was expecting for it to be snappy. It doesn't feel that snappy. We'll review it more. Anyways, I need to make another cup of coffee. After that, we're going to play with antimatter. Maybe we'll run through some of the trainings, and I can show you the trainings that we were doing. We can kick off one of the trainings while we're waiting. Yeah. Have fun playing Wordle or getting up and stretching. You won't hurt my feelings either way. I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to make a guess to get it started. There we go. My favorite guess, not very good. Did it not even take that as a guess? Oh my goodness, it's not part. Oxbow isn't part of the word list. Okay, we need to really get. We need to get a new word list. We need to get the harder word list back in the game. I forgot to do that. Maybe we'll do that today. We need a good, difficult word list. This one's been too easy on you all. Been too easy. All right. I will be back probably about 15 minutes. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. Thanks, everybody, for joining me for the news. I did something cool. For the AI arena. And then I had AI update it, and I think it broke it. So we might have to fix it. I kind of just YOLO'd it because I was trying to go fast. So we'll see if Antigravity can fix it. Anyways, have fun with this. I will go make a cup of coffee, and I will see you all in a little bit. Thank you for the Canadian words. right, I'm back. I'm back. All right, we need a real expert to get this. Let me update. Let's see, update. Clang. Clang was your guess. Wait, is clang an accepted? Oh, I guess it's an actual word. It's an onomatopoeia. Never mind. Scratch that. I was gonna make fun of C-lang, but dang it. I've been in tech too deep. When I see clang and I think C-lang. Oh. Mistakes have been made. Let's see. I feel like the A needs to be here. Taunt. Okay, taunt's a good one. I feel like I gave you the idea. I'm gonna take credit for taunt. I knew where the A was supposed to be. Watch it be at the end. I don't. The only word I could think of is like China. Okay, good. The A is in the right place. Oh, if I had typed it, we would have gotten... I'll type it now. Do you have another one? There we go. I'm taking that one. That's a good one. Do you have another guess? We would get 2 guesses. Ooh, we can game the system. I don't know if I love that. I suppose the system is supposed to be played by more people being competitive when we get a leaderboard. Wait, haunt, it's not haunt. You tricked me. You tricked me because there is no you. Oh. I just went with it. I've been tricked. I don't like this game. I never did like the game. I definitely don't like the game now. All right, we downloaded Antigravity. I guess we just... Did we just throw this in our S-bin? I don't know. I've never really downloaded something from let's see, downloads. Yeah. Yeah, we just got the tarball. Okay. I need to clean up my downloads. Holy crap. Is this Google's? I don't know. I actually haven't looked at it at all. I haven't looked at it at all. So like, it's the next generation of VS Code. We can watch this. Let's watch this.
Every breakthrough in model intelligence for coding encourages us to rethink what development should look like. Gemini 3 is our latest such model advancement. So, we went out to build the next step change of an IDE. Introducing Google Antigravity, a new way of working for this next era of agentic intelligence.
I have a question that I feel like people aren't asking here, is we've never needed a new IDE because something else has changed. Why is it when we have AI, something that supposedly is intelligent, we need new IDEs? I don't know. We should be asking this question.
It is the ideal agentic development home base. Does it have an IDE? Yes, but it also has a whole lot more. We started with the core IDE and added pieces that evolve the IDE.
VS Code. Oh, VS Code has become the Chromium of browsers. Yeah, like
towards an agent-first feature, such as browser use, asynchronous interaction patterns, and an additional novel agent-first.
I can't use parallel. I feel like this is the dead on arrival feature, this parallel agents. I have been trying to use them, and I'll tell you why I can't use them. It's because I cannot context switch fast enough. Like, if I ask an agent to do something, and I'm doing this, like, if I'm at home and I'm just doing something, I might run it and see if it works and call it good. And that's fine. But if I'm making something for business, agents, I don't get to pass on responsibility. It's still my responsibility, which means I have to know the code and I have to review the code as if I had written it. And I have to understand it as if I had written it, right? Which I actually think takes a little bit more time than actually writing it, but that's okay. Like, we can get past that. So the fact of the matter is, when you run two parallel agents, you have to context switch. And I can't context switch fast enough to keep up with two parallel agents. So basically what happens is it's just as fast as running one.
Patterns and an additional novel agent-first product form factor, helping you.
Sometimes I think what you can do is like run one. While it's running, you can go write another one, get it running, and come back to the results of the other one. I think in theory, maybe two, maybe. I haven't found that to be useful, but.
Experience liftoff.
Your new focus is architecting the solution.
Why is he on the
not
ground?
Implementing every single step.
Why
So
are you
congratulations. You have been elevated to a manager of agents. Instead of an agent.
Did we just get excited? I don't feel like we did.
Agent living in your tools
I don't feel like everybody just was like, woo, I get to review code all day. I don't think that was the reaction.
are now instruments for many agents. The agent begins to work autonomously by creating an implementation plan and activating multiple surfaces to complete your request. Our agent is more capable, tackling complex tasks, and even doing so in parallel, letting you ship more than ever before.
You can verify your code quality at a glance, then ship with absolute confidence. The agent can automatically take browser screenshots of bug fixes or even screen recordings of feature implementations, proving the work was done and tested. By providing these instant, verifiable artifacts, you can confidently trust and merge the code without hours of manual review.
Antigravity eliminates the pain of trying.
Wait, did you know it was Monaco editor based? I don't know what Monaco. Is that an editor? No. It looked like VS Code. Is it not VS Code based? It's almost like they need a way to capture people and a plugin is just not sticky. I agree. I agree. If you made an agent that could work anywhere, that doesn't capture enough people. Oh, Monaco is the core of VS Code. I did not know that. I did not know that. I haven't used VS Code for a long time.
Trying to polish near perfect results by easily guiding the agent's 90% solution all the way to 100%. Now let's say the agent
90%. Did you guys not listen to me? Right here. 90% isn't good enough. 90% will never be good enough. I'm being serious. Until you get to 99.99%, it will not be good enough.
Produces a landing page mockup with Nano Banana. And you now want to make some UI adjustments. You can give visual comments. You can give UI
We're going to try this, by the way.
Landing page mockup with Nano
Build
Banana.
a landing page for a flight
And you now want to make some UI adjustments. You can give visual comments, just like a designer, letting you leave feedback exactly where the problem is. And you can also leave comments on code diffs, or feedback on screen recordings of browser use. It's a brand new way of collaborating with agents, and you're going to love it.
Say goodbye to what held you down before. Welcome to Google Antigravity.
Two nines? I don't think 2 nines is acceptable. What is it called? 9 calculator? No. At 2 nines, it means that you can be down for 2 hours a week. That means that, you know, this is worse than Azure front door. I kept wanting to say AWS front door. Azure front door. 2 nines is actually worse than Azure front door. And that's like our base standard. Azure front door is at 3 nines. 2 nines is not acceptable. And the problem with 2 nines is compounding mistakes. And this is what I talked about at the beginning of this stream. I actually did a little thing on this. When you're talking about fallible systems, 99% isn't good enough. And I'll give you this. If I was only 99% of the time correct, my boss wouldn't trust me nearly as much as he does. You're not okay. So okay, maybe Azure front door isn't 3 nines. Maybe it's not 3 nines. You know what I told my boss? That I wanted to be 5/8 of availability. Can you imagine that? 5/8 of availability. It sounds good, but my goodness, it's 2 hours a day. Weekly, I can almost be down for an entire day. I was like, I would like to be 5/8. Can I be 5/8 of availability instead of 5 nines? 5/8. No, 99 is not good enough. Here for like 5/6s as a person. Well, so the problem with this is compounding errors. And this is what I talked about at the very start of the stream is this. For the past year, we've all been about agents, and agents do multiple things, multiple steps. And every single time you add a step, your likelihood of success actually drastically goes down. So I used a very quickly head flip calculator, a probability calculator. And like, if what spurred this on was the Linux Foundation was saying that like open models routinely achieve 90% of the performance of closed models. And if we assume that benchmarks were even accurate, which they're not, and the open source models cheat on them just as much as the closed source models do. So, you know, like not calling anybody out here, the benchmarks just aren't accurate. But even if they were, if the open ones are 90%, it means that on a 5-step process, they are only 50 or 60% as accurate. They get the right answer 60% less than a model that gets the answer wrong. Or the 40% of the time they're more wrong, more worse. So I think that this is something that just hasn't been talked about a whole lot as why even just a little bit, especially in the era of AI, feels so much worse. And when you're talking about something like anti-gravity, these are doing hundreds of different things to come to those conclusions. You first have a model that is, you selected something on the UI. So there's first a model that's doing a visual analysis of all the divs. Then you have a model that's understanding the divs. Then you have a model doing this, and you're training them all together. And until those models have a 99.99% accuracy, the compounding failure is just astronomical. And only one of those steps have to be slightly wrong. And as soon as one step is slightly wrong, none of the others will catch it, and it will just snowball from there. And this is the big problem. And this is why just 10%, they say this like it's really, really close, is not nearly good enough. Thank you. That's my TED Talk. And I did this whole presentation. You guys missed it if you didn't join the beginning. I had the whole coin flips and understanding that while one coin flip is 50%, two coin flips is 25% to get heads both times. It was really quite spectacular. All right, we downloaded this, didn't we? We did. Let's go. Downloads. Let's see. Anti-gravity tar GZ. Okay, let's see. It should be in the downloads. Let's do this. CD. Anti-gravity. Like that. And then we were wanting to unzip it into here. Yeah. So we're just going to, I don't remember all the tar. So I can unzip it, but how do I do it into this directory, right? So I think isn't that just a second argument? I believe it is. I believe it's just, I usually just unzip it where it is, but I want to actually, that's too loud. Wow, I was shouting over that. Sorry about that. I believe that it's just the, oh my gosh, so many options. Let's see. Tar option file. I thought it was a third thing. How do I give it a directory to extract into? It has to be directory. Here we go. Capital C. Okay. I haven't used that for a long time. I don't touch tar nearly often enough. So it's something like XVF, right? XVF is the right the Z. It's a G zips, right? So we need Z, right? Yeah. Z. And then what was it that we said it was? Anti-gravity. Let's see. Downloads, anti-gravity. Capital A, anti-gravity .tar zip. And then we'll do C, and we're doing this in anti-gravity. This is a non-recoverable error. I'm glad they let me know that. I have screwed up here. F needs to be the last one, right? Because that's the file. I'm a dum-dum, right? It's like this. Boom. You're welcome. Nailed it. I did make the directory first. I just screwed up putting the F in the wrong place. F for fantabulous failure. What did you say the base of VS Code? Monaco is the core of it. So Monaco. I need to remember that. I feel like I should know this. Like Chromium is the core of every browser but Firefox. So all of the greatest browsers. All right. So we have it now. Here. So just anti-gravity it up. Okay. We're just gonna hide this over on page 7. Welcome to anti-gravity. Let's set you up. I could put this in my path and be able to launch it through something. If we'd like to, we'll see. Fresh start. Do you know why you can import from all of these? Because they're all the same. Dark, yes please. Agent-driven development. Do we do agent? We're doing agent-driven. Terminal execution, turbo, yes please. Review policy, always proceed. JavaScript execution. This sounds dangerous. What's the difference between turbo and auto? I'm going with turbo. It's never requesting a review. Okay, that's fair. I don't want a review. Vim key bindings, please. Not that I'm gonna use Vim. And drank 2 Red Bulls. I'm assuming auto is just slower for like you to be able to review, but it's probably not slow enough for me to review. So it might as well just go as fast as possible. Install 7 extensions? Which extensions are these? Heresy. Rust isn't installed? What the crap? Okay, 1 second. Let me sign in with Google. I hate editors that you have to sign into. Absolutely hate it. Like when the core editor requires you to sign in. Also, I just clicked a thing that said that they were going to use all my code. So there we go. All right. We are good. You know what we need to do before we unleash this? What we need to do before we unleash this onto this, we need to make a commit so that we don't accidentally just, destroy all of our hard work. Init. It's really just the init. Now, I did something kind of cool that I might make an actual package out of. I have to look. I think Cursor kind of stomped on some of it. But what you'll see here is that I actually have this secrets. You know how on almost all my projects you need like a Twitch secret or a secret, and like I am always sourcing these files to give them those secrets, right? So what I wanted to do was actually make a local secret store that was actually encrypted. Instead of having this thing just on my computer, is make a secret store that's encrypted that requires like a password or something. And so this does two things. One, you don't always have to give it the new secret, and two, it stores it a little bit more safer than just in plain text on my computer. So I don't know. It was something I was playing around with, and it needs some work, but it's nice for development like what I'm doing. Yeah. It's kind of like the tool that you were telling me about. Kind of, yes. Except written in Rust so that I can just embed it in the application. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, and I don't mean that, like, in a mean way. Like, you're absolutely right. What gets weird there is, like, passing it through cargo, then into the running application and doing all of that. And could definitely be done. This was more of just like a, hey, when it starts up, it goes and reads the secret file. And gets the secrets the application requests. It's not actually good right now, but if it becomes good, I was thinking I would use it in like, this is in the AI arena. Then I have my Twitch thing, my Twitch chat and stuff that we do. And so all of those things do the same thing. So I was thinking about trying to make it good and then just leveraging it on all of the things that we do here. Before I published it as like a real package for people to leverage, I would want somebody that was better than me to review it and kind of validate that it's not just, it's not going to be perfect. It's storing it locally, obviously. I get it. But that it's, I don't want somebody depending on it and thinking that it does something that is, you know, for me, it's better than having it in plain code, like plain text on my computer from a streaming perspective. But, you know, better doesn't mean that it's good. And I don't want people depending on it that if it's not really good. All right, let's see. We'll jump into some code here. AI Arena, select that. Yeah, I trust the author. Okay, so definitely Visual Studio code based. Here's our agent. We need to make this a little bit bigger. Can we do that? Thank you. What does high and low? Is this high understanding and low understanding? Is this high speed and low speed? I'm not really sure. Okay, okay. I actually like how they had, we need to install Rust. Do you install Rust on VS Code? What do people install? Do they install this? It looks like they install this. Yeah, Dutch, it's also a good learning experience. Like, when you try to do something like that, you learn the, Yeah, I'm gonna trust that. And we'll also install, LLDB. I haven't done this in VS Code for a long time. Go ahead and restart those extensions. All right. I want you to make a plan to review the entire project and come up with ways we could make it better. It's on turbo. It's on turbo. This feels like Cursor to me. It's also really close to a Copilot, yeah. Okay, I did. I was gonna say I did make a commit, didn't I? I did. Okay. You know what we should do? We should open another one of these and create a new project just from the ground up. Some UI project. Let's do that really quickly. I'm gonna open another one. Let's see. Excuse me. Okay, this is kind of hilarious. Let me show you guys. This is how I start Antigravity. It's like a cult. It's like a cult. You have to chant it. You got to get it out there. Antigravity, antigravity, antigravity. Anyways, I found that hilarious. We don't need to look at this anymore. The cult of antigravity has been achieved. We will run it again. All right. Let's see. All right. Add chess support. Okay, that's fine. I don't have chess support. So we have Connect 4, Rock, Paper, Scissors, and Tic-Tac-Toe. So that's fine. A web interface. I actually love the idea of a web interface. Parallel batch execution. Okay, that's actually in the plans but hasn't been done. This did fairly well, honestly. Enhanced error handling. It has plenty of error handling. It actually follows the Cloudflare error handling playbook. You just unwrap all the errors and you'll know as soon as you have one. Why is it? Okay, dismiss that. Interactive CLI mode. Okay, fair. Better statistics in logging. I think that this is a falsehood. We haven't seen it run successfully, so like I don't know how that could be. Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. Make a plan for each proposal. And start executing with the first. We should make a git commit for each implementation. Each proposal. All right. What we were going to do here is we're just going to do some. You know what I really want is and I think maybe this will help me. I really suck at making UIs, and I'm hoping to make UIs with AI. So we'll see how well it does. We need something more upbeat. More upbeat. We'll go back to our anime. Anime rock. Is it putting these in plans? No, it's not putting them in plans. That kind of sucks. Got loud again. That kind of sucks, right? It added There's a cargo add chess. Oh gosh, somebody's already written the chess game, and we're just ripping it off. That's fantastic. Okay, cool. We got a few errors. That's okay. We all do that. Okay. Let's open a folder here. Code, Antigravity UI test. Create that. Select this. All right. Oh, you know what? There we go. Chess is pretty complex. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know there was a Rust module out there that played chess already, which is really cool. So that's the smart way of doing it. The AI is currently trying to get the project to compile. It generated a ton of code, and now it just keeps trying to get the project to compile. It can't get it to compile. Okay, that was pretty hilarious. Okay, so I want to try this with let's create a UI application with a Rust backend. I want to have a mix. Let's make a project. Let's make this a little bit bigger. A project with a Rust backend and a TypeScript. What framework do we want? We'll do React. I just know that one better. TypeScript, React. TypeScript, React. Should we use what UI framework should we use? We could make it HTMX, but then it's not. Then it's just really a Rust backend. No, we can't do HTMX. Never mind. That was a ridiculous statement. You want Next.js? We can do Next.js. I meant like, what CSS framework do we want to leverage? Do we want to use Tailwind? That'll make Russell happy if he's still on. Tailwind for Next.js. What else? I think this is good. Let's see what this is doing. Do you want to install the recommended Rainbow CSV file? Yeah, we do. Absolutely, we do. Who is this? No, we don't want to. We don't want to. I'm not that YOLO. I'm not that YOLO. All right. Accept all. Boom. Said add chest. Trait. Created. Okay, this is actually cool. I like this walkthrough of what it did in high-level English. Implement move validation. Pretty cool. So this will be really cool. If I get the secrets working properly, this should work because the AI shouldn't have to pass in the secret keys. And if I already load them on my computer, then it should work and it should be able to leverage it here, which I think would be cool. Okay. Update the agents to be prompted to output moves in UCI format for chess. The response should still be a JSON struct, but the actual move inside the JSON should be UCI format. It said that it needed to do that, so we'll let it do that. All right, let's make it. What is this project going to do? Oh, let's do this. This is easy. Make the project should be a super efficient, super duper awesome URL shortener. I want you to pick a good service for auth. We will make the accounts free for now, so no need for credit card processing. Accounts should be limited to 500, or let's do 50 billion redirects a month. We'll do 5 billion. I mean, it should be really, really cheap to do that. We will call the project Null Direct, the Null Shortener. The Null Shortener. The Null Shortener. There we go. All right, that's going. Holy crap, this is literally VS Code. Yeah, it looks like it. All right, I want to go and look at what's changed. Let's see. The add chest. I want to see this code that it generated. Now, it did actually follow a lot of the other games that are put in here, which, like, it already had stuff to go off of. This is kind of copy and paste. Like, so this was a good entry start for it because it got to follow stuff that was already done. What I want to see is the play game, you know, because this is probably the thing that has to change the most. Everything else here is just like agent template config. Here is the thing. And then there's one other thing that we need to check that I think might have been tricky. Oh, I didn't do material UI, did I? I'm sorry. I missed that before I hit enter. It's going on full turbo though. It's turbocharged. I can't stop it now. So this is my problem is, like, if I was doing this in a real production thing, I have to check all this and understand it just as well as I would do a code review, right? So it doesn't really save me time. Now, I guess the question is, my code usually has gotten a code review as well. And so, like, if you're going to accept that an AI generating something and one human reviewing that code is acceptable, but I don't think that is. I still think that I need to review it, make a PR, and then have another human review it, right? Because when I'm thinking about it, I made assumptions. And what I need is another human to validate that those assumptions weren't wrong, right? So I'm not sure that this saves any real time when we're talking about real production things and not me just doing something stupid and running in and see if it works and then fixing it when it fails. All right. So it's expecting 2 agents because it's a 2-player game. White, black. All right. Classic. Chess stuff here. And then self.game. What is this self.game? I'm assuming this is from the chess thing. So chess game. This is really cool. Oh, interesting. This structure is slowed compared to using board directly, so it is not recommended for engines. The AI used the easy mode. It's fine. I'm not making like a website engine. Okay, so this is fine. So if they make an invalid move, they lose. I like that. If they make an invalid move, they lose. We'll see. Like, it could be that they make a lot of invalid moves, and so we could also run it where it's like, on invalid move, they just lose their turn or something like that. We'll see. So this is actually fairly simple because they're just doing this game framework. That's awesome. I mean, it really isn't a whole lot. And then this is just statistics that they have examples of in the other games of getting the statistics. And then the execute turn. So each AI is going to execute its turn. This is the prompt for this game. This looks similar to the stuff that I've done. So I couldn't tell you it is exactly correct, but it looks similar to the stuff that we were doing. Okay, cool. Oh my goodness. It has some performance issues with dragging and selecting. Like, watch. It just... That's interesting. I don't know. Okay. It says, I will now proceed to implement this. But I don't think it's proceeding. It's not going, is it? Are you proceeding or are you stopped? Or is it wanting me to click open and actually input these things? I think it is. Let me see. Let me see if I just save this. Let me just make one change here. Placeholder. Okay. I did it. How do I tell it to continue? Is there a continue button? Continue, please. Continue, please. It's using Redis? Oh, gross. We're gonna have to ask it to try to do something better than Redis. Like, you can do better than Redis. Okay, the other thing that I was going to look at was... Do we want to use InfluxDB? We can do that. It failed. I was wondering if it would catch these, right? So it absolutely didn't get these. That's interesting. So in theory, it needs to actually add these, like... Actually, does this compile? Does this compile? It does. Okay. All right. But yeah, for completeness sake, they need to actually add the, This is just, I don't know. It probably doesn't need a customize, so maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm being critical where it doesn't need to be critical. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. It also did a for chess config. Okay. Okay, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. We'll see. InfluxDB, is that what we want? It's still trying to compile Rust. It takes it a little while. let's see. I don't know. Influx DB versus... I was thinking ClickHouse. And I know that it's never been used that way, right? Because it's a columnar. I can't say columnar. I can't say that word. It just escapes me every single time. I know it's not commonly used in that method. But if we were thinking about... We have two reasons to use a database, right? The first one is for the redirects themselves. So those are going to be write once, read a billion times. And then we have the other thing is the statistics. We want to know how many times roughly somebody has. So I said 5 million or 5 billion redirects. And so that's going to be write a bunch of times and read a bunch of times. So you can like update it when you read it as well. Now there's a cool thing here is it would be very expensive and slow to check that every single time somebody requested something. But what you can do is you can basically have something else monitor that every once in a while and just basically mark things as overused past their things once an hour. And if that's the case, then like you're, or you can mark things that are getting a lot of hits or whatnot, and check those more often. But you don't care that it's exactly 5 billion. What you care is that they get at least 5 billion. And then if it's 5 billion 100,000, it's probably doesn't matter. So I was kind of thinking ClickHouse would be an interesting use for that. But we could do it in Influx. I have not used Influx for a very long time. All right, let's get this working on its next task. These X's aren't working. I don't know if they vibe coded this app. I can't even select this tab. This is as buggy as all get out. Like, I can select this tab, I can select this tab. I can't close this. I can't select this one. I can close that one. Oh, now I can select this one. I can't select this one. This is like super buggy. Like super buggy. I can't close this one. Stop vibe coding your products, Google. I know that you got excited about it, but like, have a little pride. I can't close. I can't close this one. I can't middle click close it. It's permanently open. I can middle click close it. This one I literally can't middle click close. I can't drag. Oh my goodness. It's a dumpster fire. Gross. Okay, let's add the web interface. Start with a plan, then execute on the plan. I like React, Tailwind, and all that good stuff. Please make the UI fast, friendly, aesthetically pleasing. I don't know how to spell aesthetically pleasing. 1 second. Define the aesthetic. Not athletically, aesthetically. I think this is the word I'm looking for. Thank you. To the human eye. We got past Deadpool Redis. Deadpool Redis. Influx or ClickHouse? Which one are we going with? Did we decide? I was thinking, because of the analyticals part, ClickHouse seemed interesting. Let's ask the AI which one that would do. Okay, that's bannable. etcd is not a database. etcd is a place hopes and dreams go to die. That's it. All right. Question. You used Redis, but I can't stand Redis for many reasons. I'm the one that has to maintain this in production, and you just recommended the most flaky software since Azure Front Door. Can you please recommend to me InfluxDB or ClickHouse? House? What one you would choose and why? Thinking about the broader, look at that. Broader implications of replacing Redis. Good. I didn't say do it. Oh, it's doing research. Good. Okay, it's doing research. Vite, React, and Tailwind. Oh, good. I got keywords in there. Okay. Oh, it got stuck. I have to click yes for it. Okay to proceed, yes. This sucks. It means the agent can't actually interact with the terminal, right? It's getting feedback, but use roll down Vite. What is roll down Vite? What is roll down Vite? We're gonna say no, but I'm intrigued. Oops, we started the server. We started the server. Oopsie. I think we need to stop it because it needs to see that the command stopped. It's a little dented. It's just a little dented. These are things that, like, I mean, they were saying like it just created the front end for them, right? It literally couldn't install the stuff. It literally couldn't install the stuff. Ha ha ha, funny, funny, Russell. Uh-huh. You almost got me. I almost responded with like, then I was like, no, there's clearly a blue bloop. It's called the bloop. There's clearly a bloop up there. Antigravity has bugs that we've noticed. There's like a weird bug that doesn't always allow you to close tabs. It's working now, which is cool. All right. I completely understand the frustration with Redis in production. When it flakes hard. Between Influx and ClickHouse, I strongly recommend ClickHouse for this use case. That was what I was going to go with just from my knowledge of the two databases. I apologize, Dutch. I know that you were going hard on the... I really thought ClickHouse... I've never used ClickHouse for this, but it feels like it would work so well. Event-based versus metrics-based. InfluxDB is designed for metrics, regular samples like CPU usage every 10 seconds. A URL shortener produces events, discrete clicks at random times. ClickHouse is an OLAP database built specifically for high-volume event logs. Compression, ClickHouse compressions is legendary. It is actually legendary. They have blogs on it. It's pretty cool. I have brought it up before. Storing 5 billion clicks events a month will take a fraction of the space compared to Influx on Postgres or Postgres. I didn't even ask you to compare Postgres. You can write standard SQL to get the top 10 refers or clicks by county. InfluxDB query language blah are painful. Ooh, shots fired? Influx, you need to talk to Google. ClickHouse can handle millions of rows. I've heard good things about the ingress of ClickHouse. So proceed with ClickHouse post haste. All right. I'm waiting on the 2030 announcement. Do you think it's going to make to 2030? Literally, I couldn't click on tabs. I don't know how I got into that position. I couldn't click on tabs, and I couldn't close out of the tabs either. It seems to have fixed itself. It seems to have fixed itself, which is an interesting problem. Very interesting problem. It doesn't have to have the tabs open. Like, look, it doesn't have any tabs open here to do the writing that it's doing, right? I don't think so. I could be wrong. Oh, wow. They said generous model usage, right? Did I read that wrong? Generous rate limits. I've only been using it for like an hour? I don't know what low means here. I didn't design a new game. No, Dutch. No. To be clear, this file, let's get rid of this. This file is 250 lines. I'm sorry? No. 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 Absolutely not, Dutch. Does low mean slow? Because like, let's just do that. Continue, please. Let's try that. No, I can't. Oh, 11:22. Wait, that's today. Today. Oh, at 4:30 p.m. Okay, so I gotta wait 4 hours. So yeah, it did an entire 259 lines of code. That's kind of egregious. I do believe. Can I just hit? Will they allow me to just use Sonnet? Continue, please. I could just use Sonnet. They have to be paying for the Sonnet usage, right? Right? I don't understand how this is working, but okay, whatever. Sure, I did a little bit of planning. This, look, it just generated a front end. It didn't even literally. It didn't even do the. So it did do the back end of this project. Sure, I give it that. It didn't even do the what was it called? The npm part. I did the npm part. I did the npm create project, right? But you're right. This probably took more, even though there's less here. Because it did all this. So it did what? 180 plus 63 plus 82 plus 10. So it did another 200 lines here plus the plan. Agreed. That's impressive. That's generous. That is super generous. Man, plus the 500 lines of code over here. I'm getting impressed. You're right. That's super generous. See, that's the problem. Not being sarcastic. I mean, I was being sarcastic just a second ago, but not being sarcastic is one of the problems is you're right. It uses a lot of tokens to do those things. But this project had about 200 lines of code before this came in. Like secrets.rs was probably my biggest standalone file at 235, with main being my second largest at 114. So when you're telling me that reviewing 350, 425 lines of code is going to eat through all the tokens, I mean, maybe. My fear here is that this agent isn't actually really geared towards Sonnet, right? So I'm not sure that the agent is going to perform very well. Like, it's actually doing stuff that it wasn't supposed to, right? No, maybe it is. It's still working on the same thing. Okay, cool. I've played around with I'll tell it that. Okay, I'll try to tell it that I actually live in Europe and that it's past the time. It's just got my time zone wrong. I appreciate the help, Russell. I actually love AI review, and I don't think that it replaces a human. What I like is a really dumb, really fast review. And this is what linters are. This is what, let me introduce you to a tool that's actually really cool. I would love to be like, I don't know that it's a viable company, but I love it as a tool. I love it as a tool. I'm not sure that it's a viable company. To Trunk. Trunk is an amazing tool because it gives fast review. It's a machine reviewing your code, and it reviews it for things like, are you following, conventions? Are you following naming conventions? Are you following code quality conventions? Are you doing these types of things? Are there are there warnings in your code? Do we allow warnings? It does all of these types of things and helps you maintain it's automatic review. That's what you should think of these things as. Any of these linters that you have, they're automatic fast review. They're review before other people waste their time on it. These are basic things that you can do. And so having a really fast AI review on your thing to call out stupid stuff, the AI, what I found, especially in like microservices and stuff, they have no context of the other services that might depend on them or anything like that. But you can pre-inject the prompt with like, ensure that there's no API changes that would be breaking changes and things like that. And you can build up a couple of questions for an AI to review. It is not perfect. You need an AI, another human to review it, even if you have this. But it gives you some fast feedback before you have that mental break. Because like you make the PR and then it takes 2 hours to get reviewed. That's not real great, is it? Because now you've moved on to something else and you don't even remember what that was. You get a review, it's been 4 hours, maybe worst case, it's the next day, and that sucks. But if you can get that fast review, the faster the review, the better. This is kind of that whole DevOps principle. The faster you can give feedback to a developer, the better. It's better for the developer doing it. And so for that, even though AI reviews make mistakes and are bad, and I have not seen one that replaces the human review, I think they're fantastic. I think they're wonderful. I love them. Sorry about the rant. Build the React components. Maybe I should wait for my quota to come back. I'm worried about using a different AI for something that was clearly built for Gemini. I don't know yet, Russell. One, I haven't used CheapBT. It's not cheap. Actually, GPT-5 was cheap. I haven't used CheapBT. I'm going to call it GPT. GPT 5.1 yet. So I can't tell you. The news are the release wasn't that exciting to me. So far, Gemini 3, like, I'll be honest, I hate on Gemini for a long time because every time people say it's actually good, it's actually the worst. So far today, it's done fairly well here in Antigravity. I don't know if that's secret sauce in Antigravity, like how they're prompting it and whatnot. I couldn't tell you. So far, the little bit that I've used, it's done fairly well. It added chess. Now, this wasn't like a big deal Like, so it did this. This wasn't a big deal because it literally followed, like, this was a low-hanging fruit because it followed the other games that I already did. It followed the rock, paper, scissors. It followed the Connect Four. It followed the tic-tac-toe. Like, these were already done. And so it literally just followed these to make chess. And chess, while is a big complicated game, it didn't do any of the chess itself. It just used this this chess game by, like, chess is already made in a Rust crate. And it just used this. So, like, the whole chess game is played right here. This is like the whole thing. It takes the AI output and puts it into the chess game. So, like, it was simple. It did it, though. This is better than I've seen in Gemini in the past. It also added observability. I don't know if the observability works. I haven't been able to check that. So yeah, this is I don't know. We'll have to see if this actually works here, but actually, is this even yeah, this is the whole piece there. So yeah, we'll have to see. Like, I don't know. I actually, let's, while we're waiting here, let's actually review this here. Let's get rid of this. I want to actually walk through this. I want to see what they did. So what the observer here is doing is basically allowing us to stream to, like, the front end, the web part. So we can actually accept all of this. Oh, I got rid of the AI part. Oh, look, the button's not working again. Oh, look. Anti-gravity. Buttons just don't work sometimes. I can't select the tab. I cannot click this tab. I can't close this tab. Why? I don't know, but this is not, like, acceptable. I've used it for half hour. I can't select all the tabs. I can't even go back to this tab. I can't click any of these buttons. No, it didn't hang. I can select these I can't select that tab anymore. I can select these tabs. It's not hung. Oh, I can select this one now. I can't close that one. I can close this one. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. And sometimes, oh, I can't. Oh, wait. I honestly can't not tell you what's going on. No, it actually doesn't let me close. Oh, look, I can't even select it back. I can't select. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on. Oh, the unclickable range is where the browser window would be, right? Oh, does Control Tab work? I don't know. It does work? Okay. Let's go to walkthrough. Ah. Interesting. It's very annoying. This, Control B, Control Alt B. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Gemini, the newest Gemini, Russell, to go back to your answer, seems better than it was. I have classically hated on Gemini because I have classically found it super dented. What was it? 2.5 came out and everybody was like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing since Swiss cheese." And like, I went into GCP and tried to get it to help me with GCP. I figured it was prime training, and it failed to do any of the things that I asked. And so like, I was pretty done with it at that point. This seemed fine. We did a light review of the things that we can see. Actually, I did want to go and look through this. So it followed all my other ones. And I just want to see if it actually makes sense how it works. So I want to do a review of this. So oh, the browser thing? You think that it has like an invisible browser open? Oh, is that what's happening? Oh, and is i3 just denting on it? Maybe this is an i3 bug or an interaction with i3. Oh, maybe it's this thing up here. Yeah, I don't have Chrome, so it doesn't even have the browser feature, right? So it shouldn't be doing this, right? It's not there. Oh, where it's describing it right here. And the walkthroughs in the preview here. So this is the only thing I've been using. No. It's still not working. It's so weird too, because at first it was just these two over here. And it's like a virus spreading across the UI bar. These don't work either. Nothing over here works. Something is covering this up. Like some invisible thing is covering the mouse intercept. I think it's a browser, but like it should. I don't think it is. It knows that it doesn't have this. I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is, and it sucks, is what it is. Open this first, and then use the arrows. Nope. Only over here. Now, I think if we brought this over like this, we could use the arrows over here. Yeah. We just have to push them far enough over, right? Because, like, it's just dead. There is a strip. Oh, there is a strip from here to here that's being covered. Oh, no. Oh, what? This over here? My goodness, it's only this. There's a strip from here to here. This is inaccessible to me. That's dead to me. In this top bar. Only in this top bar. And this bar is not overcome by that. I can click these. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I can't debug their crappy software. Like, that's not on me to do. It defies gravity. It defies gravity. Maybe launched a little too early, like the NVIDIA. Oh. Everybody's rushing so much that I feel like the NVIDIA Spark. I actually think that probably in a year, maybe 6 months, it will be a decent machine. I still think there's a weird, it doesn't have a really good niche to fill at $4,000. But like there should be like a niche for it to fill. That being said, like everybody's rushing so much that like we're getting half-baked stuff. Yeah, anyways. I wanted to review this just to get a little bit better of an idea. Trigger a screen resize. Okay. No. Didn't fix it. Okay. I've never had this problem with other VS Code variants. I think they done screwed something up themselves. Let's review this. Let's see. This is all just stuff that they copied and pasted from. We have a config. We give it a default. What is this start fen? I'm not sure I understand what a start fen is, but I will try to understand. So we have the config, we have the game. This is the game from the library, the stats, and the ID. Okay. Fen is a chess position notation? Okay. I don't know much about chess. This was the AI that did this, so I will assume that start fen is a chess. Oh, so you could like start the game in a pre-configured thing. I see. This also makes the test that it wrote make more sense, right? This is like rook, knight, bishop, queen, king, bishop, knight, rook, pawn, 8 empty, 4p3 CPO, 8 empty, pawn, 1 empty, pawn. I guess it's there's 4 pawns and 3. I get it now though. Like you could start it any way that you want. Cool. That's okay, cool. And that makes sense here when you're talking about creating a new one and it takes the fen from the start fen. Okay. One E4, one what in E4? I know what E4 is, but one. Oh, 4P3 though. That's like a pawn, but it should be like E3, right? Is this correct? Oh, you can emit the piece if it's a pawn. Oh. Oh, so this is 4P3. The piece is a pawn, but the P, it could have been like E3. I see now. P is the position, capital P. Why are these lowercase and these are uppercase? Okay, anyways. I'm not trying to review that. Like I said, not a chess person. Scroll just broke. Okay, scroll is back. Maybe the most buggy editor I've used to date yet so far. Okay, cool. So this makes sense. They created with a new board. I would assume that this creates it in like the default normal way, right? Start the default. Yeah. So, okay, so blacks are all capitals, the white pieces are all lowercase in this. Okay. I think I understand now. And that's why, okay. Got it. The very first top left from the context of the white player. Read it like a book. And I don't know what you mean by that. I did. I think. I don't know if the very far left is square. I suppose it depends on which way the board is facing. Right? I mean, there's a lot of questions in that, right? Sure, but I don't know what the fen is, right? You're talking like I would have pre-known this knowledge, right? So I'm sure 100% that this has some predefined orientation of the board. I don't know it. And you couldn't expect me to know it because I actually literally told you at the very start, I don't know what a fen is. So to assume that I would know which orientation that is, to then read it like a book, would be making an assumption I already told you I didn't have. Think about that. All right. We're good. I get it. It's a board layout. I don't need to know it right now. We're gonna watch this. I just want to see what the code did. And then I can understand fins some other time. I don't. I know the basic rules of chess. I played as like a child, like 4 times at least. Fin always starts with white. I think I said white and then the black. I don't even really care. It's acceptable. I probably misspoke, which I also 100% take. The thing I said I didn't know about. It's surprising. Sometimes you know what you don't know. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. This was one of those cases where I knew I didn't know. Okay, so it's going to take its start time. So this is play game. This is like the start of the game loop. It's asserting that there needs to be 2. So unlike Cloudflare, we're going to actually take a... it's just going to return an error that it expected 2 agents. Cool. So we're going to make the white agent, black agent here for chess. 0 and 1. We're just going to take the first 2 that we guaranteed that we have here. I guess we're capping the amount of total turns. Oh yeah, anytime that you just call unwrap, I'm going to call it a Cloudflare now. You're pulling a Cloudflare. You're just unwrapping that. Which you know, it's fine to do like an expect here, because here we don't want to play the game if there's the wrong number. It's not okay in a Cloudflare service, but you know, to each their own. I am going to call it a Cloudflare from now on, though. Dutch. I now want to do that. Oh, do it. Do it, please. And please publish it. Please publish it. I will cover it in the news. That would be hilarious. dot Cloudflare just unwraps. It's just do we make a PR to Rust that just renames unwrap to Cloudflare? Like, is that what we need to do? Like, I don't want to do that because I know that open source projects get plagued with AI generated garbage. I think it would be hilarious. I don't know if the maintainers would find it as funny. I would do it. I would like make the PR to be like made unwrap more explicit to the effects. Like that would be the whole synopsis of the PR would be like made unwrap to be more explicit as to functionality, and then just rename unwrap to Cloudflare. I don't know what Rust CVE is. What is this? Oh, right. Right. Of course. All right. Okay. So we're pulling Cloudflare here. That's fine. Getting our players. Taking our turns, and then this is going to be the main game loop, right? So we set everything up here. We made the board, and then we're saying while the result is none. I guess. Let's see. What is the status of this game? So this looks to be a correct usage of this. There is no result. It's not done. Okay, fair. And turn count is less than max turn. So we're keeping track of that. Current color. Side. This is just another thing from this game. So side to move. What does it return? I don't know. Okay, so it returns an enum. Fair enough. So the current color is going to be one of these, and so then it's going to. This is going to select the agent to run. This is like nice Rust. I like. Give credit. I like this. I like using the match as a expression. Okay, cool. Why is it calling self.execute? Isn't it execute turn on the agent? Oh, okay. I assume that it's going to take the agent and the turn count. Okay, okay. I don't know why it needs the turn count, to be honest here. Maybe it does. So let's see. We're getting the current state. I don't know what the state JSON and the state before. Let's try to understand this. There might be a good reason that they're cloning it here. Oh, probably to do like a diff. Okay, okay. I think I might know. All right. Create the move schema, type object properties, move, type string. So we're making a JSON object that. We're making a JSON schema that we're going to tell the AI we want. So this is the move schema. We want to move, and move is required. Okay, this is fine. And it's in UCI format. It's good. And then we're going to build the move request. Okay, so we're going to put in the turn number. I don't know if this is useful to the AIs. This is something we're going to have to play around with. The ID. Do we want to be passing the ID? This is something I did. I'm just thinking about it right now. Like, does this matter? And if it doesn't matter, I don't like giving context that doesn't matter, but we'll see. State will be the state JSON, expected move schema, the schema, and instructions. Please yeah. These instructions should probably be something like, please output the results in the expected move schema. That's what I did in the other ones. So this is maybe a little wrong, but it's looking fine. Move request, move response equals agent.execute turn with the move request. This is the execute turn I was thinking we were making, but yeah, this makes sense. We get the time taken. Now we should be able to do a diff here, right? We're referencing self here. I don't love that. I don't love that. Right? Do we love that? I see now why this has a mutable self. That's fine, right? We're executing a turn. No, this is fine. This is fine. I've had these same conversations last week when we did the other ones. I just have to rethink it. I'm doing a review of code. This is how I review code. I'm sure you all do it somewhere more efficient. Let's see. Okay. So we've got the move data. We got the move string. If there's a missing, that's fine. Chess move, we're doing a chess move from string because it should be a UCI format, which we mapped out from here. Check if it's legal. We're taking the current game position. Board.legal. I'm assuming that this is a valid way to do this. Let's see, get the current position of the board from the game object. Okay. And then legal, I'm assuming that this it's a particular move legal. This function is very slow, but it will work on unsanitized inputs. Cool. Okay. I don't care about performance at this point in time. Let's see. Error message if move valid. Okay, so we check for if it's valid, apply the move if valid. We're gonna make move. Interesting. Make a chess move on the board. Wouldn't we just want to do this? Right? So the AI kind of did something interesting here, right? So it seems like we could replace all of this with a much more concise method, right? Just looking at what this says, it looks like we could do this, right? Or all of that. Am I misunderstanding that? So basically from here down, we could do this. Now, the thing that I'm looking at here is, do we need this separation? Because right here, basically we return different things. So we're setting this state after to this thing, depending on whether that worked or not, right? And so do we need to monkey that out like that? I don't think so. I think I think we could make this way clearer. The only thing I don't understand is this movegen.next. So I don't know 100% because here we're actually making a move. So this chess move here is a chess move from string. And if we look here at make move, it doesn't ever take a chess move, right? This make move here is movegen.next, but this doesn't have, it has the current position, but it doesn't have the next move, right? I'd have to look into this. This looks like it's fine though. Maybe not the most efficient, but it could be. Like I said, I don't, there's a little bit of confusion there, but then we do the turn stats and we keep those in the stats for streaming. And then we return an error or a okay. Right, because we don't need to return anything if it failed, right? Okay, and then this was in here. So this is the execute turn. If okay, we send the state update to the observer. This is again like the web UI. If it's error, we return that the game ended due to a invalid move, which is the primary cause of error there. I think there were some other places we could error, but total duration. So then we get the total duration of the game as long as it took. We get the winner. This looks right. This is cool. This is cool. It's going well. How are you doing? It's buggy as crap. I can't even change tabs through click. I can change tabs to these over here. So if I wanted to change these, I can do it. I can't click on these. I can only access them through going like this. So if I want to close this one, well, joke's on you. You can't close it unless if you know how. Like I have it in Vim mode, so I can actually close. It sometimes freezes though, but I can actually close this by doing like quit on it. That's the only way because I can't use the UI. It has some weird bugs, like sometimes it just hangs. Like I'll be scrolling with a thing like this, and it just hangs. It's not doing it there. It's all very random. Oh, like there, I had to click twice. Sometimes it just like it doesn't get a click. Sometimes when you're highlighting, it just like pauses. See. Oh, I bet that's the overlapping thing that makes it. It's actually overlapping down here. Oh, that makes so much sense now. There's like something overlapping the screen over here that's invisible that makes you not be able to click these things. It's effectively a half-baked AI vibe-coded platform. I can click this thing over here, which is interesting. So yeah, it's a work in progress, okay? Don't judge. See, like it stopped accepting my input. Okay, it's back now. It's weird. It hangs sometimes. It does some funny things. It's not a smooth experience. It was launched prematurely. It was launched a solid month or two prematurely. Gemini 3 so far has not been bad. If I'm trying to compare the AI agent's ability so far, I only got to use it for like an hour before it crapped out with model quota, which I will go back to here. They say generous rate limits. That generous rate limit was about 45 minutes and 250 lines of code reviewed and 250 lines created and a plan for creating those 250 lines. We'll say it created 1,000 lines total. Because there was some, it generated failed code, it generated some failed code. We'll say it generated 1,000 lines. It's not super generous. It's also opaque. Now, obviously, I can use it again in 4 hours. Like, it's not a hard limit. It's just like every 4 hours you have, or maybe every 6 hours. I don't know. It said in 4 hours I could use more. I wasn't doing anything heavily, right? I was doing this on stream. We were chatting about it. We were just doing some stuff. And I hit the rate limits pretty quickly, pretty hard on a really small project. Like this project, before it happened, had under 1,000 lines of code. Thanks for the follow. Comparing it to Cursor, oh, have you guys seen this? What I put it in chat somewhere. Where did I put it in the Discord? I put it in the Discord somewhere. Let's see, where did I put it? I have to remember. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. I posted this. I got so frustrated with Cursor. These browsers suck. Or not browsers, but Cursor 2.0 had a problem that I fixed. Or I found a workaround. It's been a problem since a long time ago. It's still a problem. And you can actually see the solution to the problem here. Watch this. Vim. Let's do. So in this, I was unsetting argv0. So what cursor's doing is they're setting argv0 to cursor. And interestingly enough, cursor 1, version 1, because they haven't updated it to be cursor 2. They're doing some really weird stuff with that, and that causes problems in the Rust toolchain and other things. That's what you can see here is basically people saying, like, for some reason, argv0 gets overwritten when running commands, which affects several commands in the Rust toolchain, such as cargo and rust up. There's other things in like the Python world that get affected by this. A really quick and simple fix to this was doing this, basically just setting unset, because cursor leveraged the terminal and they leveraged your terminal. Well, in cursor 2, when they released this agent mode where you could have multiple agents, they're actually using like their own terminal. And this no longer worked anymore with this new agent first one. And so I frustratingly did not have this working anymore for me until I found out we're working, but in cursor 2.0, I was not able to get it to work with multiple agents. The first agent would work for some reason, and all the other agents would not work for some reason. It was very weird. I had to let them know that I use Arch because I find it hilarious. It turns out that I was required to do all of the above and set legacy terminal tool in the agent setting under inline editing and terminal. I don't know what this setting does. It doesn't explain anything. It just says legacy terminal tool. Without this, cursor is completely broken for Rust. Completely broken. Which makes me sad. So anyways, there you go. As far as Composer goes, I'm enjoying Composer. I have played around with it a little bit. Composer seems to be pretty good. It is snappy and fast and cheap. Gemini, you only get a few minutes out of before they rate limit you. So yeah, that's in December 15th. December 15th is the AI games. If you want to know how these tools stack up to each other, join me for December 15th. Because we're going to be testing all of those things. And it's going to be kind of spectacular. So thank you so much for subscribing with Prime. I super appreciate it. That's super awesome of you. I super appreciate it. Yeah, December 15th. That's actually what we're kind of vibe coding is. I haven't vibe coded like 3/4 of it, and then we just vibe coded the chess aspect of it. This is the AI Arena. It's a new staple to the AI game. So every year we are dedicating 4 whole days to testing AI in random scenarios. I am making an advent of code style problem for them to solve. I hope everybody liked the last one. I'm putting quite a bit of work into this one. It's going to be a little bit more challenging. The last one was a low ball. Like, it was all simple stuff. This one is going to be more difficult. And we're going to test the AIs out on how they can solve that problem. Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it. We have an NVIDIA DGX Spark thing that we're going to try some local models on, especially if I can get the local models to run well. So far we've had some problems with the little machine. You think for $4,000 it would operate better than it does. And yeah, Okay. I feel like doing more, but it's been a little while, and I don't want to push my arm. So maybe I should call it. Maybe I should call it. I have a Thanksgiving stream. So Thursday is Thanksgiving in the United States. If you are here in the United States, it doesn't really matter because it's a stream for the entire world. I'm going to be streaming on Thanksgiving. My family's actually doing Thanksgiving tomorrow. So, yeah. So we're not actually celebrating on Thanksgiving because that's how we roll. We're doing it tomorrow because that worked best for the rest of the family. So Thursday, I'm doing a Thanksgiving stream. We are going to be testing out the AI arena. I'm going to fix whatever the AI broke on here because it broke stuff. But we're going to be running the first tests of the AI arena. And getting some stuff ready, set up for the AI games. So if you guys like, join me on Thursday. I would love to have you join me. It won't be a long stream. I'm trying to keep them short, fun, not sit here until I want to pull my hair out type of streams. You worked as a QA engineer in automation? That's awesome. Then you'd probably be better at this than I am. This is actually not difficult. It's actually not difficult. I am mediocre at best at many things, except making coffee. I make a mean cup of coffee. That's my claim to fame here. It's a very mean cup of coffee, and I'm decent at growing a beard. I never have grown a beard before. And this is dedication because this is for a YouTube video. I think it's long enough. I think it will pull off the right effect. So you'll know when the video is recorded because I won't have a beard anymore. So there you go. Anyways, thanks everybody. I'm going to get going. I appreciate you all hanging out. Let's find somebody to raid. Let's find somebody doing something awesome. Let's see. Theo. I don't say Theo because many people confuse Theo for the other Theo. B7H30, I believe is doing the hack the box stuff. Would you guys like to learn more about hack the box? Or I thought I had an or, but I think it just went offline. I thought I had an or. Some game software stuff. Overlaid. How are you doing? How are you doing today? Sorry. You should go ahead and hit that follow button, but I am going to be done for today. I'll have a stream. My next stream will be on Thursday, and then I stream the news every Saturday, and we do some stuff. You've never had a singular cup of coffee. Do you know what, Dutch? The next time I'm out in your neck of the woods, we should go get coffee together. We should do that. I do believe I'm making guesses as to the vicinity that you live, but I think that it's within like an hour drive. We should definitely get coffee. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I've been streaming almost 4 hours. I like to keep it light and fun. 4 hours is I get tired and cranky. Like I'm over 30. You know, when you hit 30, like you get tired, you get cranky. And I still have to go deal with children. It's a rough life. It's a rough life. Oh, rough life. All right? See, I can't even speak correctly at this point. $27. See, you're almost there. You're almost there. You're about to be there. So that's why you should follow. So you can stick around and see what it's like when you're 30. Now, okay, I'm gonna get going. We're going to raid Theo. Thanks everybody for joining. I hope to see you Thursday. We're gonna do some more programming, probably not using the AIs. We'll just kind of have some fun together. Really, I want to start running and getting the feel for some of this stuff. I also want to do a review of my little security project. I just want to like walk through it and see if you guys have any blaring issues that you see with it. It's meant to be simple and help with streaming and running these applications. So I'm going to like walk through it with you all, how it works, and see if I made any major mistakes. I just logged all the secrets that, in plain text. I'm just joking. I don't think I did that. Anyways, go say hi to Theo, learn something about hacking, and I'll see you all later.